Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I'm doing just fine. Been a lovely morning so far, just because I've woken up. And the package that I thought was going to arrive tomorrow arrived today, so I get to make another Star Trek video, and I'm very excited about that. It's been a very polarizing. It's a silly thing to say with something so mundane, but it's been in the community since I put up that 2022 video of the brand new Playmates released Enterprise from TOS. People have been like, it's horrible. It looks this bad. It looks like this. This is terrible. Oh my God, look at all these screw holes. This is just the old one was so much better. So I found an old one on eBay, paid a little more than I would have wanted to for it, but that doesn't mean it was in the thousands of dollars. It may have been in the 40s of dollars. Paid a little bit more than I would have wanted to for a 1995 piece of plastic, but I did. Came in a box, it's downstairs. I'm gonna do a recording of it today, and we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison. If I were to place a bet, if I were a betting man, I would say there are probably just as many screw holes in the bottom of that as they were complaining about. But we'll see. Anyway, so I got my Crusader Cup right here, this lovely Scotcheroo stuff. And if you take a look here, it is a nutty chocolate, butterscotch, and caramel. Wonderful. Oh, coffee sounds great. I went and got the mail because it was delivered. The USPS guy pulled up into our driveway, which is not something that happens very often, but the box is pretty big. So, you know, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, it was a nice sized box. It probably wouldn't have fit in the parcel boxes that we have in our group mailboxes out front. If there are bad parts about living in a condo community like this, it's the communal mailboxes. I miss having my own mailbox. I know the ordeal it would be for them to have walkers come out here and put mail in slots at people's doors, but boy, wouldn't that be nice. I'm gonna do about 32 grams of this morning. One commenter was really anti-James Hoffmann, and I'm fine with that. Everybody's got their way of doing things. They suggested another coffee maker for the maca pot. I am going to watch that, and then tomorrow we're going to try to do what the video does. But I've not watched it yet. It's on my list. I'm going to do it today or tonight, because I'm interested. I know that whereas I think James is incredibly charismatic, incredibly funny, very smart, very interesting to watch, there's a reason for that. He wants to get views, which, you know, I do not complain about. You know, I have no problem with. No one should have a problem with it. He wants to generate views because that is part of his income. So he goes after the stuff that seems to be a little bit maybe easier, or, you know, a little less complicated, maybe not easy. And the maca pot was apparently one of those things. So someone had said that his method is not great. It does not develop good tasting coffee. It's just there to generate views. So here is a person and their method, which is perfect. One nice thing that they did say is that I was getting closer to what I should be doing. So that's always a wonderful step forward. Generally, I don't like it when people do the hate complain about somebody else, rather than just get to the, hey, here's a method that you should be looking at. Let me grind this up and we'll talk about that. Was talking and not paying attention. I should have maybe made that a little bit finer, but that's a nice grind size for a pour over. We'll try to make sure it doesn't. And barely any static. Well, that's just the best thing about the Bones coffee. The oils that they put in there just make it such a nice, slick, beautiful cup of coffee here, at least the grind wise. So, one of my pet peeves, and you know, it's not like anybody knows these things. One of my pet peeves is when you go into like a salesman or like a car dealership, and you tell them, hey, I was looking at this car over here. Can you tell me why your car is, you know, better? And they're like, well, that dealership's garbage. They're awful. They're terrible. Their service is bad. The car itself is terrible. And I'm like, stop, slow down. Why don't you start with why your cars are good, or even better, why your service department is better, and don't attack your rivals because that's just putting me off. And I think a lot of people feel that way. It's just we don't articulate it because, you know, salesmen, they talk fast. A good salesman won't start with, here's why they're bad. A good salesman will start with, here's why we're better. I don't care why they're bad. You need to convince me why you're good, you know. Maybe I have a friend that's a salesperson over there and you started off with all of the bads and it's like, well, that's not necessarily true. So that means I either know more about that dealership than you do, or, you know, I've been studying the brand of car and you just said that their car is garbage and I know more about their car than you, you know, or I'm just the kind of person that gets turned off by someone that starts out being negative. I am always more apt to listen to somebody that is positive, that gives good feedback, that wants you to grow or feel better. You know, the minute you start attacking someone else, I'm tuned out. You know, I think I've said this before, no one wants to learn from an asshole. You know, you learn less from somebody that is completely negative and I mean, it's one of the reasons why I got a D in my, there was like a civics class in college, and not only was it 8:30 in the morning, but the man he paced, he always had his head down, he was just waiting for his time to retire, and it just reflected in all of his lectures. And, you know, I'm like, I'm totally tuned out because I mean, why would I listen to this person? Why does anything this person have to offer mean anything to me if he's just going to be this way? I mean, that's just the way it is. And, you know, subconsciously, I think a lot of us are like that. You know, whether we, you know, see it and can process it in our heads immediately, or we're in the middle of it and we're like, for some reason, this is just off-putting. So we did 32 in there. I'm going to do about 400 grams of water in here, but of course we're going to start with our blooming phase because blooming is life. Look at it all come through. Boy, yesterday I should have said to begin with how terrible it was. I was trying to be optimistic because I think the pour over tasted much better with that coconut milk than it's sitting in the French press and then being pressed through. That was definitely awful. This, I don't want to say it was, I mean, saying it was tolerable, I don't want to tolerate, I want to enjoy. This was, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, but I wanted to be optimistic, and it was just not good. Highly unrecommend. Do not think you should try. However, I will not, you know, I won't blame you if you do. Maybe you'll like it. Definitely was not for me, which is a little disappointing, but, you know, you do things and you see what it does for you, and then you move on. Because we can do that. We can move on. All right, so I'm going to add the rest of this in here. About 413. Great. I suppose I should start being very, very, very precise with this stuff, but it's like, you know, I mean, for the sake of the video, I'm not a coffee expert. You know, I'm here to see how you're doing. I'm making coffee. I'm taking your suggestions. I'm enjoying them, you know, and...
You don't really mean to eat me, do you, ma'am?
Oh, indeed I do!
And following through with them. I'll find that person that did the maca pot, and then we'll do a maca pot tomorrow. And then I'll see if I can, oh boy. Oh, that's lovely. I just feel, you know, if you like butterscotch, you're kind of missing out on just trying these things. I looked up, somebody mentioned Kona coffee yesterday. I think I was watching Binging with Babish. They did anime with Alvin. Alvin is one of the people that does cooking on the Binging with Babish, and which is on YouTube. And I watched, and he mentioned Kona coffee and how expensive it was. And I'm like, well, what's expensive? I've seen $32 coffees, you know, that kind of thing. First one that popped up, $399 for a Kona coffee that comes from Hawaii. And I'm floored. I'm like, and that's for like a 7-ounce bag. And I'm, what is the point? I mean, that's crazy. $400 for a 7-ounce bag of coffee? Wow. And it's just special blend or, Hawaiian Kona or like pea something. I don't know. I was floored. I'm like, $300. And that's the specialty coffees that a lot of people that I see are talking about, I think. Specialty coffees that are expensive. And here I thought specialty coffees that were expensive were like $32, $34, $40, just because, it's a bag. It's a bag this size that has coffee up to here. And you got to grind it yourself. And then you got to make it yourself and you got to make it right yourself. I mean, that's mind-blowing. Absolutely insane. So about a 4-minute. I didn't start the timer until 30 seconds after, so I would say this is about a 4-minute. So for me, that's pretty good. I grabbed my coffee cup. I like it better when you're in there like that. There. Perfect. Thank you, scale. This is a wonderful smelling coffee. And coffee in and of itself smells really nice. But I don't know. There's just something about adding flavor to coffee without adding sweetness, which is why I was very sad that the coconut water or the coconut milk experiment kind of failed on me, because I'm like, wouldn't it be great to add like a flavor? But then again, you're changing the entire. I mean, this is changing the entire flavor of an Arabica. I think this is an Arabica, isn't it? I don't know. Does it say on here? It really doesn't say. Oh yeah, it is Arabica. So it's 100% Arabica coffee. So, I mean, it's totally changing the profile of that Arabica, but it's for the better, I think, because there's no really added sweetness other than the sweetness that is like a chocolate and a caramel. It just smells so nice. Oh, yeah, that's so much better than yesterday. Oh, I was so sad. I was so sad that it was that way. I did come up in the middle of it with that iced coffee idea, but I still don't think that that'll work, because now you've got watered down coconut milk and watered down coffee, because it just wasn't concentrated enough. It was absorbing a lot more than it was giving out, because, I mean, you weren't getting this color. You were just getting a brown milk color rather than this very dark, almost black looking cup of coffee. I still love the experiment. Maybe I'll get some coconut water that doesn't have any of that gum added to it to thicken it, and maybe we can see if that makes any kind of difference. Because I don't think steeping coffee in milk just that way would taste very good. You've got too many variables. And like I said, it was so sour, and the sour was fighting with the bitter, and because it coated your tongue rather than, was there and gone, it was like, trigger warning, it was like napalm on your tongue. Not like heat, but like sourness and bitterness, just igniting taste buds and not going away. I had to take a drink of water to get rid of it. It was that kind of a thing. So, but this is delicious, and I would highly recommend a lot of these. They also have canned coffee. I know some people aren't into canned coffee. I think I opened a can of caramel coffee that I love, and it got the most downvotes I've ever seen. I think it's like 4. It's not huge for a coffee video, whatever. But they weren't hip to that jive. So I understand. I mean, but it's not like you're against the coffee company making that. You're against me just having it. So it's also kind of weird. Anyway. Oh, thank you for today. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in and watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for just coming in and then leaving, because, coming in and watching for a little bit, I really appreciate that as well. We will talk to you tomorrow, where I will get a look at that video from the Maca Pot that was suggested, and we'll do it. We'll try to do it right. We'll try to do it right tomorrow. Knock on butcher block. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.